Amber Heard. Why doesn't she stop? Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Many of you have been following the trial between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Many of you have listened to my analysis of Amber Heard to establish what she is. And some of you have accessed the actual school and cadre of narcissist that she is. I've yet to analyse Johnny Depp, but that material will be made presently available to you. But at the moment, I continue to focus on Amber Heard, and to address one of the questions that has been posed, namely, why didn't she stop what she's doing? This is because many people have been left scratching their heads as they look at her behaviour, and they don't understand why she keeps on proceeding in the train wreck that she is. Now, of course, with this trial, there are essentially two courts that are functioning. There is the legal court, where a decision will be made as to whether she has defamed him, and she, of course, has then countersued to suggest that he has defamed her. The onus, of course, is on the accuser to demonstrate that the allegations are false. So essentially, Depp has to demonstrate that he has never abused Heard. Whether he's able to discharge that burden of proof remains uncertain on the evidence that has been provided so far. There is also, of course, a second court, the court of public opinion, and that seems firmly in Johnny Depp's favour. There are a variety of reasons as to why that might be, and I will be expounding on them on another occasion. There are those who view this situation of one where Depp is the victim and Heard is the perpetrator. It's clear, having established that she is a narcissist, that means that she's prone to abusing other people. And we've yet to establish, but we shall, what Depp is. This might be a situation of narcissists collide, where they engage in effectively a mutual abuse of one another as they seek to control one another. It might be that Depp is empathic, and that his responses where he has lashed out has purely been as a consequence of being on the receiving end of Heard's abuse, which has diminished his emotional empathy. Similar could be said for if Depp is a normal, and also even if he's narcissistic but not a narcissist. His status will be revealed to you in due course. She, however, has continued making certain assertions and carrying out certain behaviours, notwithstanding a substantial body of opinion that really doesn't accept that she's telling the truth. We've seen the insistence that she made the $7 million donation, although she's finally admitted that that was not the case, something I'll be addressing in a separate video. We have the audio recording, for instance, where she mocked Depp as a victim, saying, "You can tell people it was a fair fight, and then see what the jury and judge thinks. Tell the world, Johnny. Tell them, Johnny Depp, I am a man. I'm a victim, too, of domestic violence. It's a fair fight, and see how many people believe or side with you." Belittling him and invalidating him in such a way does not sound or look good. She, of course, brought up again the Kate Moss allegation, something that Depp's legal team were waiting for, when she talked about the incident where she believed that Depp was going to push her sister, Whitney, down the stairs. She brought up Kate Moss, which she's fallen into a trap, because of course that will enable Depp to bring up instances of her previous relationships, and as you know from parts passing in my analysis of Amber Heard, I have demonstrated a pattern of unpleasant and abusive behaviours towards other people, establishing her status as a narcissist. We've had the ridiculous responses, the whole "my dog stepped on a bee" and the exaggerated response thereafter. And the whole of her testimony comes across as exaggerated. The impression I've got of these parts that I have watched, either at the time or in review thereafter, is that when she gives her evidence, it's not so much as giving evidence as if she's giving a soliloquy, that she's very much playing to the jury. She's a double actress. She's an actress by profession and she's an actress as a narcissist. What she's also done is, for instance, when she's described the physical assaults that she alleges that she suffered at the hands of Depp, she noticed how dirty the carpet was when she alleged a slap from Depp knocked her to the floor. That is not something that a victim would ordinarily recall. The recall of a victim is far more fragmented and doesn't delve into that particular level of detail. Her narcissism, in effect, is over-egging the pudding in providing detail in order to make her seem plausible. Her credibility is very much on the line because her performance was not convincing, and those of us in the know that understand that she's a narcissist realize why that is. Yet the question remains, why doesn't she stop? Why does she maintain certain allegations that can be demonstrated to be false? Why does she maintain this whole charade of the over-exaggerated acting? Quite simply, she won't stop because her narcissism will not let her. People who are unfamiliar with narcissism will look at her behaviour and think to themselves, this doesn't stack up, you're the problem. Surely you must be able to see this. And what they don't realise is that because she's a narcissist and an unaware one, she has no understanding of what she is. She has no understanding that her unconscious narcissism is seeking control, fuel, character traits and residual benefits, otherwise known as the prime aims. They don't realise that she can't see that what she's doing is contradictory, that she undermines herself, for instance, where she gets dates wrong and attributes them to the wrong thing. She can't see that where she mocked Depp, how that might then come back to bite her on the backside. She can't see that that actually doesn't make her look very good, invalidating him and belittling him as a potential victim. She doesn't see that her responses are exaggerated, lack credibility. Instead, she believes, because her narcissism makes her believe, that she is the victim, that her performance is credible. It's something that many people who aren't familiar with narcissism really struggle to understand. They can see it, so why can't she? She's blinded to it. Her narcissism will not let her see the lies that she tells, the inconsistencies that she engages in, the over-exaggerated behaviours that she indulges in. You see, if it did, it would cause her to question herself. It would cause her to hesitate. And that would mean that she wouldn't get control as quickly as she needs it. She wouldn't get the fuel that she needs and so forth. And therefore the narcissism has failed in its job. Her narcissism is a self-defense mechanism. And as part of that self-defense mechanism, when dealing with an unaware narcissist, one of the things that it must do is ensure that she can't see the mistakes that she's making, and instead cause her to believe that she's always right and it's always everybody else. Even though you might say to her, look, here are 15 examples where you're the problem, it's not those other 15 people, it's you. Her narcissism basically goes, does not compute, and it will not accept it, because it is that hermetically sealed defense mechanism that will not allow the suggestion that she is at fault to penetrate that defense, because if it did, she would lose the sense of control, and then she would unravel, and the false self that is created by her narcissism would, in essence, no longer exist. She would crumble. And the narcissism's job is to ensure that nothing penetrates the shield that is the narcissism, that nothing gets through, that the allegations are rejected, the attempts to make her accountability are rebuffed, criticisms are thrown to one side, rejection is stamped upon. Anything that threatens the provision of fuel to the narcissist, anything that threatens that sense of control, has to be addressed by the narcissism. And as part of that, it blinds the narcissist, where they're an unaware narcissist, to their own faults, shortcomings, behaviours, and inconsistencies. She has to gain that fuel and that control in the instant. It has to be swift. She can't pause and think to herself, this question that I've been asked is a threat to my control. I must now assert control over the questioner. How best could I go about this? Should I use a pity play? Should I use some provocation? Should I use an insult? Should I use physical violence? I know. I'll use physical violence and slap that person to assert control over them. If her thought process operated in that way, it would be too slow, and she wouldn't get the fuel and control that is required. If she went like this, could it be that I'm the problem? Maybe I am the difficulty here. Maybe I need to think about my behaviour before I next act. That causes her to operate too slow, and control has been lost. So therefore there is no self-reflection. There is no accountability. There is no looking at herself and thinking, fuck me, I've buggered this one up almighty. The internet's laughing at me for my dog stepped on a bee performance. The internet doesn't believe me. Public opinion doesn't believe me. Her narcissism tells her that this is simply idiots who don't understand the case, that these are biased people who are taken in by Johnny Depp and his charm and his money. In the way that she talked about the manager at the trailer where it was trashed, she talked about how he was apparently taken in by Depp's charm. Anybody that doesn't agree with her is a nincompoop. Anybody that doesn't agree with her and sides with Johnny has been duped by him, beguiled by him, taken in by his charm. Because everybody ought to believe that she is correct and he is not. And so consequently, the reason that she does not stop is quite simply she can't see that she's doing anything wrong. Even if you were to sit her down with a lovely cup of tea and say, Amber, look, and list the instances of where her evidence has been contradictory, where she's lacked credibility, where she's told things which are clearly lies, her narcissism will not accept it. No, you're wrong because they just don't get it. That person's biased. They've just been taken in by Johnny. Why don't people listen to me? Why can't people understand? I'm the victim here. Her narcissism will not allow her to stop. Her narcissism will not let her see the mistakes that she's making. And the type of narcissist that she is, this is a common undoing of the narcissist. Now, whether this means that she will lose the case is a different question altogether, because it turns upon the fact that Depp has to prove that he didn't abuse her, and that's a difficult burden for him to discharge. And it might be ultimately that Depp's approach to this is to try and reignite his career and demonstrate that he's the wronged individual in the court of public opinion, something that so far seems to have been succeeding. And that might have been ultimately the aim overall, notwithstanding the fact that it might be rather expensive. Nevertheless, it might also be the case, of course, if Depp is a narcissist, and we shall find out later if he is, that he's using the court case to assert control over Amber Heard, that her allegations, insinuations towards him threatened his sense of control. The damage that has been caused to his career is also a threat to control, and therefore he has responded as a narcissist would by bringing a court case which is a difficult one to prove, but nevertheless has done so in order to assert control over her. Or, if he's not a narcissist, he's done it as a consequence of a reaction to the continued abuse and damage that he's received as a consequence of her. But she does not stop in the manner that she behaves, because her narcissism will not allow her to do so. And with the type of narcissist that she is, and if you want to know what type of narcissist specifically, you can access that from the Knowledge Vault or become a member of this channel to access Amber Heard School and Cadra. It's typical that the law of collateral consequences means that this type of narcissist suffers some kind of downside eventually. I explain this in greater detail in my video, Give the Narcissist Enough Rope, which I'd encourage you to watch. Amber Heard continues in this vein because she believes that she's right. Her narcissism believes that, makes her believe that she is the victim, and that it's only the right thing to do to defend herself against the spurious accusations that Johnny Depp has made against her. And this is what she will continue to do throughout her life, as has been demonstrated in the analysis that I provided previously. So for anybody that asks you, why does she keep on doing what she does? you can now direct them to this video to help them understand more about Amber Heard's behaviour through the lens of narcissism. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.